Hello and welcome back to our Teacher Spotlight series where we bring you conversations with inspiring educators who are shaping the future of education through music. Joining us today is Laurelle Riola-Catbagan.
Catbagan, yes.
Catbagan, and she's a dedicated classroom teacher at Ele ele Elementary School on the island of Kauai and our third place winner in the statewide Hōʻolokahi Lyrics Challenge. Laurel discovered Lokahi at a conference. She joined our professional development program and brought music into her classroom and led her students to an award-winning performance that stood out for its strong vocal delivery, consistent ukulele playing, full class participation, and beautiful original lyrics. So Laurel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So tell us how you first got connected with Lokahi, because it was at one of our professional developments, is that right? One of the conferences?
Yeah, it was on Oahu, actually. It was a Schools of the Future conference. And I happened to be walking through, going to the conference room, and I saw ukulele, and I met Mary there. And I just kind of stopped for a little while at first, but I had to go. And then when I came back, and then that's when we kind of talked. She told me about I guess there was a summer class happening that year. And she also told me about an opportunity that I could get a class set of ukuleles. So that's one of the big reasons why I just wanted to learn more about Lokahi and how I can incorporate what's going on into my class. Because right now, I mean, before then, I had some ukuleles in my classroom, but not enough. And I've been trying to do some music with my students, but I haven't really gotten anything started. So I figured Lokahi might help.
What brought you to the Schools of the Future conference?
Our school usually sends a few teachers every year and whoever's interested. So I'm always interested in going. And there's just a lot of breakouts and just so much you can learn for teachers that I'm like, why not take that opportunity?
How many ukuleles do you have in the classroom?
I was granted a whole class set. So I have
Amazing.
a class set, but right now they had to be put away. I have a few out, and still during breaks they'll grab them and play together during recess or anytime they can. I think later after right now we're doing all our testing. We're going through that right now, all the state testing. So once that is done, I can start getting back into it again. I guess being a fifth grade teacher, we don't have time to fit that in. You know what I mean? Like our whole day it's already dictated for us, all of the core subjects. So I guess it's different in the sense that my students are so excited when it comes to getting any time we can to play. I can't say that I have a dedicated time every week. It's not happening. And I don't have the support for that either from admin or anything, but it's just our own time during breaks, recess, we like to play together again.
So talk us through the process of when you first learned about the Hōʻolokahi challenge and you decided that you wanted to go for this.
Okay. So when I first found out, I got the email and I was like, I guess that's enough time. You know, there was quite a few months. And I thought, okay, it'll get me to get the students to play more, trying to get more time in with the ukuleles. Okay, I'll do it. And as the months kind of went by, we got closer and closer to the deadline. I'll just be honest that I was thinking, ooh, I don't know if I would have enough time because I have to teach. You know, there was so much to teach when I saw the toolkit. But I wanted to show the students the video, Paula Fuga's video, just to see and find out what do they think about the challenge. And when I showed them, and at first I didn't know who Paula Fuga was, but I showed some videos and I said, did you know she entered American Idol? And they were just like starstruck. And they said, yeah, we want to enter this contest and we're going to win. They're just so motivated. It wasn't from me, it was from them. So when I saw that excitement, I said, okay, we're going to do this. Even if we have, less than 2 months, we're going to do it. And so, yeah, it all came from them. And I had to feel it out to make sure that it's something they wanted to do. And I think what makes it different, because I guess in schools, we're just so pressured to keep up with all of the core subjects, right? Math, reading, science, social studies. That's all of our time. And I knew that I won't have too much time to teach ukulele and fit it in. So I had to make sure, first of all, that the kids were vested to do it. And I had to figure out how I'm going to carve time to do it. And so we ended up practicing like during lunch recesses. During
Wow.
lunchtime too, they'd come in during lunch because I couldn't find another time. But it worked out. They came in willingly.
That's amazing. So it took sacrifice on your part to not only are the students coming in during their lunch and recess time, but you have to give up that time as well.
I did, but I didn't mind. So it was just to see how excited they were and how willing they were to help each other out. They taught each other, and they kind of like, I was there to help facilitate and guide them, but I'd say 90% of it was them. And it was never something we have to do, oh, we have to do this. It was never that. And I've never seen kids so excited for something outside of all of the core subjects. And they needed that. And I felt this was important for them.
Amazing. So what was it like inviting them to be involved in the lyrics writing process?
Oh, okay. So remember I said everything was during lunch and lunch recess. All I would say is, okay, kids, if you want to come in, we're going to work on lyrics today. Half the class came in at lunch recess. And I took my computer out and I said, okay, this is the theme. Help me out. And we just typed a list of words that they think they might use. So that was part of some of the days was that. And then other days I said, okay, come in if you want to help with the melody. And then they would come in and start piecing it together. So that's what it was. And like I said, it was all them. I just helped facilitate.
It's amazing at the fifth grade level to give the students the opportunity to have the agency and the independence to lead themselves in small groups and for them to have the opportunity for the higher achievers or the ambitious ones to step into those leadership roles.
Mhm.
What comes to mind when you reflect on some of these students? Did you have some students that were coming out of their shells or growing because of this, where maybe you didn't see this side of them if it weren't for this opportunity to play music?
Well, let me give you a little bit of background of how I got started, which is why I had some leaders in my class. So back in September, I had started an after-school program because that was the only time I could really fit in dedicated time. After it was all voluntary, also after-school program, and I only had 12 kids, and those 12 were my main group that learned the chords, proper ukulele techniques and all of that. So when it came to this Lokahi challenge, they became my leaders, the ones who would go out and help the others. And the other students, unfortunately, I mean, they wanted to be part of my after school group, but many couldn't for whatever reason. They couldn't. They didn't have rides or whatever. And what surprised me was how patient my leaders were with the ones who were trying. It's like they're starting from scratch, but they were so patient. It was never, I'm going to show off to you what I can do. It was always, I know what it was like when I started too. So
Right.
let me help you. Like I used to do that too. I'll help you. And so that I think that relationship between, I guess, all of the students throughout the whole process and just realizing we're all in this together and we're going to do this. We can do this. And nobody dropped out. Like nobody said, I can't do it. Maybe there were a few, but they're like, no, we're going to do it. We have to do it. We got to win. They're so excited to meet Paula Fuga. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. It's all you folks.
That's
It was
amazing. So
fun.
what's the reaction been within the school and within the broader community?
Um, I didn't tell anybody, about it. I didn't tell anybody. I just honestly didn't think, because I figured we're not a music school. I'm not a music person, and my kids are fifth graders. They're up against high schoolers, middle schoolers. So I didn't think anything. I didn't think we'd win. I just enjoyed the process. When I found out and I saw the email, and I just kind of sent it to my principal, oh, just to let you know that there was this contest that I entered. I thought I would get in trouble, because
Yeah.
I thought I'd get in trouble for spending time doing something that wasn't the core subjects. I was worried. So I didn't tell her at first, but I told her, and then she like shot it out to the whole school in an email, like, congratulations to, Mrs. Catbagan. And then she shouted out on the bulletin, and then they put it on our Ele ele school webpage. And I guess she even told the superintendent of our island. And I never intended it to be like this. I guess I didn't know it was that big. So I just told the kids that every time there was another person congratulating us, or I found out that they're posted somewhere, they're just blown away, because I think they didn't expect it to be this big either. And now we're being requested to play like at our Mayday program and all kinds. So I think the biggest thing they took away from this was that everyone has a chance to, how can I say this? Everybody can be a part of something that they thought maybe they couldn't do. I know a lot of my students thought they just couldn't play. It was just so hard. But after this experience, when everybody had to, I kind of told everyone, okay, pick a part. You're going to either pick, you're going to strum fast or strum slow. Pick a part. And everybody picked a part and we did it. And so I think they realized like, we can do it. When we're all in it, we can do it.
How did the lessons, the resources, the structure, how did that make this possible for you to bring, as you mentioned, there were different like levels of difficulty, so you were able to ensure that every student felt included and a part to play. Can you just talk us through about how the Lokahi resources
Mhm.
made this easier and made this doable for you and your students?
Yeah, I really appreciate that there were different levels. And I remember talking to Tim. I think he had a Zoom once for teachers who had questions. And I asked him about that. I said, I have some who are really good and some who are struggling, but he told me there were those levels. So I told the students, pick one and stick to it. And so during recess, I would say, or lunch, during our lunch, I'd say, okay, if you're going to be picking, come in today. And they would. They'd come in and they'd eat while they're practicing a little bit. And then the next day would be, okay, if you're strumming the fast drum, come in. It was kind of like that. And then eventually they all learned their parts. And what's kind of neat is, I don't know if you saw that clip on Instagram where the three or the four kids are playing together.
Yes.
You remember that? And that was totally, I never told them to do that. I just happened to hear it. And I was like, they realize that when they put themselves together, it all meshes, it works together. I had never showed them that. And I started to see that too. And it's like, and that's the point where I'll realize, okay, I think it's time. I think it's time we can all put it together and make them hear what it could sound like.
Amazing. What if you are going to participate in something like this again, what do you think you would do differently?
Start earlier.
Start
I
earlier.
try to
Yeah.
start earlier. I don't know what I would do. Because somehow, I guess when you're under pressure, it all just works out. Because it was getting close to the end, to the submission deadline. But yeah, I would definitely have started earlier and use our time wisely.
Yeah.
And maybe, yeah, maybe basically that. That was my downfall.
Well, I don't know if it's a downfall because your students did so well. And I think that it obviously is having ripple effects within the school culture, within your classroom, and within the community too. It's really incredible what you've done. What about advice for other teachers who maybe they've been on the fence? Maybe they think, okay, I love music. I can see the benefit of bringing music into my classroom, but I'm just not ready yet. What
Mm.
would be your advice for teachers to give them the little nudge that they might need?
I'd say to start small. You don't have to teach your whole class at one time because it can be really overwhelming. And I think that was my challenge years prior when I tried to teach everybody at once, and it just got so overwhelming. When I was able to focus on a smaller group first and kind of get the hang of this small group that I can help and give more one-on-one attention and get them going, and they can be the ones to help you with things like walking around the class and helping the other students with their chords or even just tuning the ukuleles. You have that group. And that was a big help that I had structured it that way this year.
Smart. So next year, I'm assuming you'll have a new crop of students, right?
I wish I did. I'm not. I'm being put into another position next year that's not working with students. However, that means I can work with kids after school and I can have a group instead of a classroom. The way I saw it, at first I was just so bummed. I'm being asked to do an academic coach position, basically working with the teachers. And at first I was really sad that I wouldn't have my own class, but then I thought it was so hard to find time in the middle of the day anyway that I can do this now instead on my own time, inviting myself into classrooms when they have time. After school programs, I can do that.
Wow.
I can still
Well,
fit it in.
yeah, it looks like you're seeing the silver lining in the situation. I
Mhm.
wonder if there are opportunities for you to also encourage other teachers to, take your
Yeah.
approach of starting small, little group set of ukuleles, some students. It can be the flywheel effect where a couple students show excitement and then everyone, gloms on from there.
Yeah, oh, that's true too. I never thought of that. Since I have that influence, I can help the other teachers who want to pick it up. Yeah, for sure. I can do that too.
Wow. And this new position will still be at your current school, is that right?
It's still at Ele ele school.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just not a classroom teacher for a little while. And then
Wow.
maybe I'll go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's incredible to see what you've done and to see your students just shine with this opportunity. What are some other, as you're looking back and thinking about these little moments where the students are pulling themselves into groups and practicing on the side and, pushing themselves to new limits, are there any other highlights, either with individual students or as a group, that come to mind?
Yeah, there's some kids that I can just see them being musicians one day and singers. And I encourage them all the time. I say, keep learning. I think this class, I've never seen so many of them just motivated to learn and to play together and just musically inclined. Maybe that's part of it too. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't remember what your question was. I'm just
Yeah,
looking at the ukuleles over there. I'm like, gosh, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss it so much.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the question was,
Sorry.
now you have the memories of what these students accomplished,
Mhm.
in your classroom in that time. So, yeah, I'm really curious about personal, the pride that you have for some of your students.
I see. Oh, they learn fast this year. I think, like I said, because they were motivated, they were quick learners. And the ukulele, it can be scary, I guess, but when you have kids they're still young and their brains are still fresh and they need that break from the core subjects and heavy academics. You know what I mean? They need that. And it's just important to have it that part of your class day, I guess. And you're going to see the students shine, like parts of them that you wouldn't have expected, because all you think about is how good are you in math and reading. But there's so many other facets to kids that can be developed instead of just the academics.
Absolutely. I know we're close to time running out here, so I have one more question on that subject. And that is because you mentioned you were a little bit uneasy with using your school time in your classroom
Mhm.
to work with the students. What do you think the solution is there? What would be your message just to administration in general, broadly, across the country? What would be your message? Or like if you could wave a magic wand and change something about education to include more music in the classroom, what's your advice?
Well, I know it's hard because not all teachers are musically inclined, but my message to administrators, I guess, is like don't ignore the arts. That's such an important part still if you want to educate the whole child. And they can only take in so much math and reading time. They need to enjoy something else too outside of that. And I'm glad that I did it because I think I wouldn't have known how much we could have done if I didn't just say, okay, we're going to do it. But I think teachers and administrators just have to have dedicated time. They just have to schedule it. If they want it as part of the day, you just have to have it in there. You can't just say, oh, we'll push it to next week. We'll push it to next week. Oh, we have more time. You can't do that. I think you just have to keep going. Once you schedule it, it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like you have to have it in there. You gotta dedicate time. I wish that we could have hired a music teacher. We haven't had one in years. The ones we have would stay maybe a couple years and they're gone. So I understand it's really hard to find. So a lot of principals don't really use their funding to find music teachers anymore because they can't be found anyway. They fill it in with other positions instead of music, which I think is unfortunate, but that's
Is
why it's
that
for us to do. Yeah.
right? But to your point, not every classroom teacher has enough music skills or interest or confidence to bring the arts in.
Hmm.
The problem that you mentioned with sometimes, elementary, with the program having a dedicated music teacher, sometimes they would stick around. Is that a problem, broadly, or is that unique to your location with the difficulty of finding a dedicated music teacher?
I don't know of any elementaries that have a music teacher on our island. I mean, not that I know of. A lot of them are just independent. Maybe they'll teach in school for a little while, but then they'll
Hmm.
start their own private lessons, I guess. Yeah, and I think to be a music teacher, you might have to have, I don't know if they have to have a bachelor's degree and they have to have a teaching degree. I'm not sure. I think if they're a full-time teacher, they do have to have one.
Right.
Yeah, but I think for principals, that's not a priority for many of them. They're gonna
Yeah.
hire RTI teachers instead, or other positions before music, I feel like.
Well, maybe it is serendipity that you are being pulled out of the classroom and into more of an administrative role.
Man, if I could just teach music, I would. If she opened up the position, I'd apply for it. But
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes next year. I mean, either way, I'm gonna keep something going. I
Yeah.
have to, you know what I mean? I can't just drop it. There's just so much momentum this year.
I think you're a tremendous source of inspiration, not only for your students and your community, but to the Lokahi community as well. Because I think there are a lot of teachers who they want to make music happen in the classroom. They see the benefit. They see how it can culturally enrich their students, the classroom, the school, and the broad community. And you're a case in point that this can really have a powerful rippling effect throughout the community. So you've already made a huge impact, certainly within the Lokahi sphere. So I'm excited to stay in touch with you and see what you're doing next year. And
Sure.
and thanks again. Congratulations for what your students did. It's incredible under your leadership. And thanks
you.
for joining us. I know you have to get school started now.
Yeah, they're coming in about 3 minutes.
Perfect timing.
Perfect.
Well, thanks
Thank
again,
you.
Laurel. Really appreciate you making your early before school time available again.
No, thanks for letting me reflect on this. I never really thought so much about our impact and how like the process. I never thought about it, really. I just thought it was just something fun we'd do. I really didn't expect any of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what helps too is they like to sing. The kids. 'Cause when I was, when we were learning and I said, you guys have to sing and play, that's what I thought. You have to sing and play. So they struggled, but they didn't. And then I realized, oh, we didn't have to sing and play. We could have stopped, but they did it. I'm proud of them.
We're
Yep.
proud of them too, and grateful for your hard work and sacrifices and contributions to make this happen. So, once again, congrats.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Laurel. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.